Hello everyone, welcome to my first coloring tutorial. I am Hoshi and I hope this helps you in any way possible. So let's get into it. I already have my sketch here, and I usually just color in my sketches. I don't really line them that much because that takes a lot of time and I don't have that time. So okay, first of all, what I do is that I select the area around the sketch and make sure that you don't have any openings for the selection to go inside of the drawing. After that, there's a little thing on the top left here that inverts the selection. So any place that isn't selected would be selected here. And then I make a new layer under the sketch layer, under the line art or whatever, and then I color it gray so that I'm able to see the lighter colors like the skin color or the color of the eyes and stuff like that. Okay, so after that I make a group layer, a folder or a group, whatever, and then I make sure that the folder is on the setting clipping group. That way anything inside of the folder won't get out of the gray area. And then here I make a new layer inside of the folder. That is very important for it to be inside of the folder. I just start coloring the base, and I make every single color its own layer, and so that I wouldn't have to worry about things that much, and it would just be much more organized. Because see here, I'm not really worrying about the skin going on top of the hair, because the hair layer is going to be on top of it and it's going to cover it all up. So it's all good. It's all good. And here I'm just going to fast forward this part. It's just base coloring, and yeah, that's it. Okay, here now I'm done with all the base colors, and each layer has its own color. Now what I do is I go to the skin layer and I make a layer on top of it, and here's where I'm gonna do a thing called I call base shading. So what I do here is, like, I select a peachy color, not black. Black is not a really good color to shade with. And then I just start shading the areas that are most likely going to be shaded in a drawing. When it comes to me, I do the nose, under the hair, like any place that has hair, the cheeks, and the edges of the face, and the lips. And then I just blur it all out. I don't blur it completely. Like some areas I do blur it completely, like the cheeks and the areas under the hair, but when it comes to the nose, I just blur it upwards. And I don't know, just seems nicer. And if you don't like a thing, blur, and if you don't like a shading, just erase it. And the thing I do here is that I make the layer mode either multiply or shade. That way it could kind of blend more with the face. So here I just made it shade. Okay, now after I'm done with the base shading, I make a new layer on top of it, and here I start really shading. I would keep in mind a light source. Usually my light sources are on the top right or top left. Here it's on the top right. You can indicate it, or I'm gonna indicate it soon. And then just start shading, but here don't blur it. It doesn't look that good blurred. And what I do here is that I take the pen tool and I lower the density of the pen, and I just lightly go over the places that should be shaded. And okay, here the light source is going to be on the top right corner. It's very helpful to indicate where the light source is coming from. That way it's going to make it easier for you to shade. And a thing that I like to do, and I don't care if the character is blushing or not, but they have to have like red cheeks I don't know, it just seems adorable and I like it. And make sure the blushing layer is underneath the shading layer, and lower the opacity of it a bit so it kind of blends it and looks natural. After that, I start adding highlights to the face. I usually just take the original skin color and make the layer mode screen, so that, and then I just lightly choose the places where there would be light and just kind of blur it a bit, because I don't want it to be too bright right now, and we're gonna brighten it up later. And then I just start doing the same thing with the hair, the same way I did with the skin. Have a base shading where there's gonna be shading like normally, where there's like the places that are usually gonna have shade. And this, in terms of this drawing, there's gonna be likely more shade on the left side because light source and stuff. And you don't have to worry about this being too neat because it's gonna be blurred out in a second. Yeah, so after you're happy with how it looks, blur it all out, but not completely. Just blur a little bit of it. And here I just with the hair, because it's a dark color, it's a brown color, I just take the original color and then make the layer mode on multiply, and just lower the opacity a bit and see what works well with your drawing. See here, I don't like it blurred a lot, so I just take the eraser and erase a bit. And here I'm just gonna fast forward this part. Okay, so after you're done with that, do the same thing with the skin layer and make another layer which has more defined shading, and just start. Okay, what I do here is that I choose the top of the hair, I shade the top of the hair and the bottom of the hair, and then blur that out so that the lighter areas would seem even lighter than they are. And then just blur that all out. And then on the same layer, just start shading the same way you did with the skin, and with more defined shading, and keep in mind the light source and where there'd be more shading. And I'm just gonna fast forward this part again. Okay, so here I thought the line art, I tend to make my line art darker than any other color in the sketch. So here I'm just adjusting it for it to be like darker than the hair color. And I usually don't make it black. Just black doesn't seem like a really nice color to have line art with. I don't know. I mean, it's fine. I kind of like a lot more color inside of my drawing. So here I'm just going to shade the rest of the drawing the same way I did, and I'm just going to fast forward this part. Okay, here after I'm done with all the shading, I make a new folder and put everything that I've done so far inside of the folder, including the sketch layer, the original like line art layer. And close that folder, and make a layer on top of that folder, and make sure it's clipping group. That's really important to me, and so it doesn't go out of layer. Okay, so here is a thing that I like to do, is that I would choose the color purple and I would start shading the whole drawing, not just a selective place like the skin or the hair. No, I just shade everything with a purplish color, and then I make the layer on multiply. That just blends in the drawing a little bit, makes it all come together, and I just like kind of like how it looks. And that's what I do, and then I just select the places that would have more shading. Make sure that this is on the dark side, and don't shade the purple in the lighter areas, because that's where we're gonna have the highlights, and we don't want any purple in there. Okay, so here I decided that the face should have more shading on the other area. And with the purple, the thing I kind of do is that I would blur the inside of the purple so it's not as dark as the edges. And I'm just gonna fast forward this part. Okay, so you can adjust the layer accordingly, make it darker, make it lighter, and now I would do the same things that I did with the previous layers. I would make a new layer, make more defined shadings and in darker places, like under the nose, under the lips, and the other side of the hair where it's going to be a lot darker. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And just shade away and blur it. Don't blur it too much, because blurring it too much isn't gonna look that good. And yeah, that's it. Okay, so after you're done with all your shading, choose a color that contrasts the color that you shaded with. I shaded with purple, so the contrast would be yellow. Like purple would be the shade and yellow would be the highlights. This looks better because when you choose colors that complement each other, it's gonna make the drawing pop more. So, for example, if you're using green, orange, not orange. Red should complement it. If you're using blue, orange should complement it, and just just use colors that complement each other. That way the drawing is gonna pop more and it's gonna make it more interesting to look at. So here just choose the places where the highlights would be, and here I'm just lightly indicating where it would be, and the layer mode is on screen, and of course clipping group so that it doesn't go out of the places that you don't like, you wouldn't go out of the drawing, and then just blur it because this is just an indication for where it's going to be and not the actual highlights. And just add highlights to the face. This is going to make it a lot brighter. This is why I didn't want it to be that bright at the beginning. Anyway, so make a new layer and choose, and with the same yellow color, make the layer mode luminosity, and then just start adding detailed highlights. Not really detailed, just start going like where the highlights would be in from the light source. And yeah, and I'm just gonna fast forward this part. Okay, so after you're done with the highlights, a thing that I like to do that makes the drawing like come together and it just makes it all work well is that I like to select a pink, purple, maybe blue sometimes, and color the whole layer with that color, and make sure that layer is clipping group so that you would only color the places, the drawing, and make that layer overlay, so that way it's gonna just all gonna blend in together. After that, here comes, like, this is my favorite part. I like to choose a color that is close to the shading color, because I used purple the first time when shading, so now I'm just gonna use a light blue, and the layer mode is normal here. It's not luminosity or screen or anything. It's just a normal layer mode, and then just put it on the shaded edge, and then just blur that all out. This makes the drawing calmer and not as dark, and you want to just lower the opacity on this a little bit. It just makes the drawing calmer to look at and just better. Okay, so that's after that's done. One more touch to the drawing. This is the very last thing that we have to do. Zoom in on the hair so that you can see it better. Make a new layer. This layer, do not make it clipping group because you do want it to go out of the line art. So here, just add, copy a color from the hair and just start adding strands of hair going out of the hair, and this makes the hair much more fluffier and pleasing to the eye. I don't know. I really like it when I do this. Just have like strands of hair going out, and I'm just gonna fast forward this part. Okay, now that we're done with the strands of hair going out of the hair, we have one more teeny tiny little thing to do. Go inside of the clipping group, make a new layer, go inside of the clipping group, make sure it's under the strands of hair layer, and add just a little bit of white on the shines that you put already in the eyes. It's gonna, the shines on the under it that are kind of blurry are gonna just make it even shinier, and the white is just gonna be like, this is a really shiny eye. And just add some highlights with the color that you had the highlights in. Like in my case it's yellow, and I just add highlights in the eyes. And we're done, we're finished. Thank you so much for watching my coloring tutorial. I hope that it helped you in any way, and I hope that I was good at explaining some things, and I hope that you understood. I'm not very good at explaining. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. Bye bye.